All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever used an AI tool at work and just had a feeling it wasn't as smart as the one you use at home? Well, you're not imagining things. The AI you're using in your professional life might not be what you think it is, and understanding that difference, that's the secret to getting results you can actually trust.
So, does this sound familiar? You come up with a brilliant, modern prompt that works like a charm in the latest ChatGPT. But then you plug it into your company's built-in tool, and the result is, meh. It feels clunky, a little less capable. Here's the thing, it's probably not your prompt. It's a hidden mismatch that can quietly, and I mean quietly, sabotage your work.
And this right here really gets to the heart of the problem. It's kind of a three-part storm. First, you've got the lag. Your company's software is often a version or two behind the public models because, corporate approval takes forever. This creates the mismatch, where your new prompting habits just don't work on these older systems. But the real kicker, the thing you have to watch out for, is the silent risk. The AI gives you an answer that looks totally plausible, but it's actually flawed because it skipped critical thinking steps it wasn't told to do.
So what's actually causing this silent risk? Well, it turns out you're often talking to completely different AI models, and each one has its own little personality, and more importantly, its own rules of engagement. To really get the best out of them, you've got to know who you're talking to first.
Okay, first up, let's meet our first personality. This is typical of older systems, and we'll call it the work order model. You have to think of this one like a super literal brand new intern. It needs a very, very detailed work order that spells out every single step. If you leave anything out, it won't guess. It'll just skip it entirely.
Now, moving up the ladder a bit, we've got the assistant personality. This model is a bit more capable, for sure. So instead of micromanaging every tiny task, your job becomes more like a supervisor. You have to define its behavior, its tone, and the rules of the road right up front. It's built for consistency, yeah, but it still needs you to put up some clear guardrail.
And finally, we have the modern AI we're all getting used to, the consultant. With this model, your role completely flips. Now you're the client. You just give it a clear objective, lay out the most important constraints, and then you trust it to figure out the process in further reasoning and even double-check its own work. Trying to talk to that intern like it's this consultant? Well, that's where all the problems start.
And this slide just pulls it all together beautifully. You can see these three totally distinct ways of working. The superstructured work order on the left, the rule-based assistant in the middle, and a goal-oriented partner on the right. The biggest takeaway here is that their prompting philosophies are worlds apart. One size absolutely does not fit all.
Okay, so we've met the three personalities. Now what? How do we actually put this into practice? Well, the solution is pretty simple, actually. You have to be the one to change your role to match the AI you're talking to. You've got to be a chameleon, adapting your prompting style to get the job done right.
Just look at this side-by-side comparison. On the left, that's the prompt for our intern model. See how it's this long, super detailed work order? It's got separate required layers for the task, the context, even the specific steps for reasoning. Now look at the right, the prompt for the consultant. It's all about the objective. It focuses on the what and the why, not the how. You can see clear as day why using that short prompt on the right with the model on the left would cause it to fail silently.
Here's a really simple way to remember all this. For the old-school GPT-5, you're the project manager, literally specifying every step. For GPT 5.1, you put on your supervisor hat, defining the rules of behavior. And for the modern GPT 5.2, you get to be the client, defining the final goal and its most critical boundaries. So, before you write your next prompt at work, just pause and ask yourself, which one of these hats do I need to be wearing right now?
So what really happens when we get this wrong? I mean, what are the consequences? It's not just about getting a slightly worse answer. The fallout can be pretty significant. And this is where that silent risk we talked about becomes very, very real.
This slide is the perfect and honestly kind of scary example. Imagine you give all three models a modern GPT 5.2 style prompt like draft key strategic priorities. The GPT 5.2 model, it nails it. It even self-corrects. But look at the others. The GPT-5 model spits out a WIST but completely skips validation because you didn't explicitly tell it to. And the GPT 5.1 model, it starts on topic but then just drifts off because its scope was never clearly defined. All three give you a confident-looking answer, but only one of them is actually trustworthy.
That example of silent failure is exactly why this next point is so unbelievably important. This isn't just about learning a few new prompting tricks. It's about developing a core professional skill, a model-aware mindset. Knowing how to change your approach based on the specific tool you're using, that's quickly becoming a fundamental competency for, well, pretty much everyone.
And it's really important to get this. Older models aren't bad, not at all. They're just the right tools for different jobs. As you can see here, that rigid work order model is fantastic for high-risk, one-off tasks like a compliance audit, where you need absolute step-by-step precision. The assistant is perfect for routine stuff, like drafting standard emails. And the modern consultant, that's your go-to for complex strategic thinking. It's all about aligning the model to the mission.
So let's just boil this all down, shall we? The key takeaways. First, even though GPT 5.2 is what we all think of now, those older models are still everywhere in business tools. Because of that, effective prompting isn't a one-size-fits-all skill. You have to adapt to the model, and if you don't, you run headfirst into that silent failure risk, where you get answers that look right but are dangerously wrong.
So I'll leave you with this one question. The next time you sit down to use an AI tool, especially one at work, are you going to just jump right in and start writing instructions? Or are you going to pause for just a second and ask yourself, who am I talking to right now? Is it the intern, the assistant, or the consultant? Because knowing the answer to that question, that's going to change everything.